All right, guys, I'm back. It's your boy Leon. I'm back with another real estate lunchbox. We're gonna be looking at New York and this freeze that took place, this rent freeze in New York. And for some of y'all that don't know, I'm originally from Philly, so I like talking about this stuff that happens in New York. I love talking about stuff in Detroit. I like talking about a lot of the stuff that happens up top, like Chicago, different places like that, because I kind of believe I made the right decision to actually move to the South. Yeah, I really do.
Oh no!
All right, here we go. And your boy's back, so I'm getting up this thing. We're gonna make sure. Thanks for if you're joining in, you're watching it on replay. We're gonna react to some content about this rent freeze. Some of what you guys got to say. Some of y'all got some words to say, and it's all good. It's all Gucci. And but I always like to find out what the sentiment is, what's going on with the people out here, because agreeably, I don't know everything, right? You don't know everything. We have no concept. We hear rent freeze. And so for me, I had to go start working and checking out to find out, okay, it's a rent freeze. What does that really mean? You know, what does it mean? And to me, this is a issue that has the political ramifications. People, they're going to talk about it. Politics, it's got economic plays. It's definitely going to affect every real estate mom and pop investor, especially the ones that like to tap into the low income housing, um, those programs that allow their rents to be subsidized for them to offer subsidized rent to New York residents. Now, me, I remember going up top. I remember when I grew up in Philly. I remember the nights, the Saturday mornings we would get up and we would go down to Chinatown, and we'll go down to Canal Street. We'll go down to the garment district. We'll go to those places up top, you know, those buildings where you actually buy those bootleg pocketbooks.
Oh no!
Yo, we don't buy them no more. That was way back. You got to, yeah, yeah, it was the 80s. Whatever. It was the 80s. It was back. It was the early 80s, 90s, stuff like that. But yeah, man, I used to love going to New York. I had family in South Bronx. They go hang up. Listen, you got family in South Bronx, you got family in New York. Just leave a comment. Show your love. If you move down south from up top, show love and make a comment also. We got some questions. I'll be happy to answer it. 20 years in the real estate business. Fix and flip, buy and holding, real estate investor, all those different things. And real estate lunchbox, man, I just like to talk about these cultural issues. I'm not going to get political. I'm gonna really try my best not to get political because at the end of it, everybody gang. Y'all Bloods, y'all Crips, y'all be ganging. You know, gang. And some of us, and I was a Blood Republican at one time. I don't know if I would consider myself a Republican anymore. I think I consider myself more like a middle ground because there's a lot of shady stuff going on. But I don't like to talk about the political play because you got to realize politics, they're going to do what they do. Even if you put them in an office, you vote, they make you all these promises, they're going to get there, they're going to do what they have to do. Then they're going to say they're there for the people. So I get it. I'm not even trying to get in that place. But this does affect the average people because when I was looking at this, I saw mixed opinions. I didn't quite understand. I heard people say, well, yeah, they're freezing rent, and that means nobody's paying rent. Oh, they freezing rent, you can't raise rent. Or what about the taxes? Or what about the laws that they say now? What about repairs? What about dude, there's so much shit. I'm telling you. But let's get into this. And hey, drop a comment. You got a question? I'll be able to answer it for you. I'm definitely going to tell you what I think about it. You know, but I definitely want you to like, subscribe, follow for more content. Let's go. This is the reason why I love NYC. NYC has the most weirdest going on, and Atlanta just keeps up with. I think the people from the NY moved down to Atlanta, so they're in Atlanta now. And but Atlanta has some weirdest stuff, just like NYC. And don't tell me it's every city. No, it's not. It's a lot of the major metropolitans where mental health isn't addressed the right way. It isn't. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's weird right there. That's weird. But of course, I'm not going to do these videos and just do videos where we talk about it. I love to just talk smack. So I love to it. So I'm always going to include some of the upside stuff. We're going to talk about some of this upside down stuff in the NYC.
Washing my head on the street subway. Putting the
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani delivering a key campaign promise. Last night, a New York City panel voted to freeze rents for roughly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments on 1- and 2-year leases. That freeze applies to leases that begin on or after, I should say, October 1st. Some rent-stabilized landlords had objectives, citing the rising cost of insurance, utilities, and other expenses. In a statement, the mayor's office saying this is the relief that working people across our city deserve. And of course, this has been part of a long-running debate about what it's going to mean for real estate development in the city. That's the other sort of side of the coin.
Oh my God, I just found out that my kid's bedroom closet is connected to the train station. I can't believe this. I've been seeing rats flying out of here like nobody's business.
Only in it. See, this is why I say only in New York. You can go down to Atlanta and you'll see some real strange stuff. No lie. But if you go to New York, you're going to see stuff like this. And you're going to see, you're going to see houses and apartments that connect right down. You can go down through the ground. It's weird stuff. It's weird stuff. And it's weird to us, I should say. Let me take that back because I grew up in Philly, right? It's weird to us. But at the end of the day, it's common to people that live in NYC. It's one of the oldest cities in the country. We got to keep in mind. They got sewers and underground spots and that just take you to different parts of the city, and it's weird stuff. I've seen not monks. What was it? I've seen rabbis and guys who were Jewish guys come out of church holes in the churches in NYC. It's weird. It's weird to me. I don't know. If I had something like that in my house, I wouldn't. I don't know, man. I couldn't live like that.
And when I see all of those videos about rats in the train station, I said, damn, they look just like the ones that be in my crib. Now I know why.
Oh shit! Oh, this the whole. Oh.
I woke up and
Man, the rats are a size of cats. If you're from NY, please leave a comment. Tell me if I'm lying or not. There are cats that can beat the rats in NYC. I was sitting in the South Bronx visiting some relatives, and I'm looking out the window, and it got dark. And when it started getting dark, I saw this rat appear. And the only reason I knew it was a rat because it had this long tail. But when it first started sticking his head out, I thought it was a cat. I legit thought that thing was a cat. Those things will beat dogs. They destroy possums. I think you probably get 5 or 6 of them. They'll probably eat a deer if you can find a deer. They probably got them. Master Splinter.
that my rent will not increase for the next 2 years. And I will tell you with 100% certainty that no amount of therapy, no amount of journaling, no amount of manifestation, no amount of breath work would have regulated my system like learning that at least my rent will be frozen for the next 2 years. And this is your reminder that your politicians, your government, owe you a regulated nervous system. Let me give you a radical idea. Stop healing. The entire self-help industry in the United States, for the most part, not all, it is a distraction to take away from the fact that our governments, all of these systems are dysregulating us, and instead we're here internalizing it. And I will tell you that the simple fact of knowing that my rent is frozen for the next 2 years has done more for my nervous system than the last 4 years of trying everything to feel better.
Political news.
You gotta be kidding me. Listen, if your nervous system is going to be regulated by the government, or if you think that what they do regulates or disrupts your nervous system, or they're responsible. Let's go back. You believe that they're responsible for your nervous system. Sis is off the chain. She's wrong. If you And that's a big part. Like, a lot of people keep leaving their peace and their nervous system to what the government says or doesn't say, does or doesn't do. And I can't deal with that, man. I just can't. I can't deal with who's in office, or whether they're mayor, whether they're whether they're president, whatever they do or they say, determining if I have any level of peace or tranquility or rest. I'm gonna go get mine. I'm not gonna sit back. I don't care what Mamdani, Trump, any of them, what they have to say with what they're doing. If I sit back and I keep chasing what they have to say, and I determine that my peace is going to be based on what they say or they do, it will be a continuous place of nothing but confusion and chaos and disruption and unrest. And when I see women talk like that, like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind, I can't believe this.
Oh no.
Why the hell would you say you're gonna lose your mind over what somebody did or didn't do? That's crazy.
I don't know who's worse, Seattle's mayor or New York's mayor. Things that I have learned when it comes to politics and economic infrastructure that affects municipalities. Municipalities is what you call towns and small cities. When corporate titans like Amazon and Starbucks are headquartered in your municipality, and there's chatter and talk about them moving, not only moving their headquarters, but moving all of the jobs that is sustaining and supporting the economic infrastructure of that municipality. Whenever a corporate titan is about to greatly affect the economy, the overall economy of that municipality, as a mayor, you need to sit down and have a conversation, right? You need to sit there and find a happy middle for the best interest of your municipality, and then something that will appease that corporation, right? Katie Wilson, Seattle's mayor, this bitch done really lost her fucking mind, right? And whenever people are having conversations about taxing the rich or all of this bullshit, that right there signals to me you don't have a fucking clue how economy works. You don't have a clue how an institution like Amazon or Seattle's Coffee or Starbucks can greatly, greatly affect the economy of your town or city. Unlike the federal government, where you could just print money whenever you're at a deficit in your budget, a state and a town cannot. Whatever your budget is, that's your budget. And if you go over your budget, if you are in a deficit, you are about to fuck your municipality. I have made mention of this in previous videos, and then people try to fight me in the comment section, which I don't argue with people. I don't argue with ignorant motherfuckers who cannot read and don't understand economics. Democratic socialism, if you break the two words down, and I'm really pissed at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for this bullshit, because she was the stupid bitch that first got elected under that damn title, right? The whole purpose of democratic socialism is socialism cannot make money. You can't. As a business owner, whatever income that I make goes straight to the government. The only money that I can keep for myself is just enough to keep my business running. I am not allowed to have a profit. You can't own shit. You cannot own property as an individual. It all goes to the state, aka the government.
Okay, so a lot of people advocate for democratic socialism. I'm gonna tell you, I know a little bit about democratic socialism. I know enough about socialism, but not so much about democratic socialism. But you got to tell me, if you're a democratic socialist and you own a business, do you get to keep your profits? Does it go to the government and you keep as much as you need to live? China, they're more socialist than anything else, so they have a different type of thing they have set up there. But If you're a democratic socialist or you believe that in those policies and you've seen those policies, you've studied it, leave a comment, let me know. I'm very curious. I'm very curious.
The democratic aspect of it is they want elements of capitalism where people are making money and then they tax the fuck out of them. And this is why you have cities like Seattle and New York where major corporate titans are like, oh, really? So we're already paying $1 billion in taxes. And then on top of that, we are creating economic infrastructure by creating jobs. Those individuals who have jobs are paying taxes. We are solving a problem for the government, which offsets the budget that the government has to pay. And you want to tax it some more? Oh, baby, that's okay. I'm out. Peace. You figure it out on your own. And this is where a lot of motherfuckers are getting it twisted. And so you know who it ends up hurting? Residents of those municipalities. But y'all are so caught up in your egos that you cannot see past your nose, that you don't even realize that individuals like Zohran Mamdani and Katie Wilson, they're causing way more harm than good. But y'all vote with your feet. You're too caught up in your emotions instead of looking at the situation with a pragmatic and logical lens.
How are they driving on that tire? That doesn't make any sense. How is that even possible?
Oh,
It's a rent freeze.
oh, snap! That's crazy. What she said, I'm very curious. When it comes to the socialism portion, it never really interests me because I've studied socialism and I know where it goes to, and it kind of feels like a very boring, dry, non-incentivized atmosphere. It just really feels like it breeds that. What's happening in China is a different type of thing. I don't know what they have going on over there. They definitely control their rich people. Rich people disappear, of course, right? Now, I got to also consider the fact when I look at this that people are dealing with real issues when it comes to their rent being out of control, though. Despite of how much we look at democratic socialists, despite of how much we look at Mamdani, we're critical of it. There's a real issue that's going on when it comes to affordability when it comes to their rent. Now, living in New York, in my opinion, you're going to pay to play to live within that metropolitan because that is a different place. It is the center of the economic world, quote unquote, of the United States, which we're the center of the economic world of the world, right? We're the economic capital of the world. So it's like the center of the economic capital. It's like the economic capital of the world to a degree. Some of you guys in London would fight me on that. Whatever. I see y'all in Singapore. And I definitely understand y'all in Hong Kong, and y'all have expensive land and real estate, but it's nothing still compared to New York. New York, the dream has been I go to New York, I can make it anywhere. So, but when you're living in that city, you're paying. I always thought that you paid to play to live there. Shit, you dealt with the high ass rents because you wanted to actually live there. I feel like when enough people start moving out of the city of New York and they can't get workers to work in some of the restaurants and places in New York, then they're probably going to address it in a fair way. Yes, it does need to be addressed. It's just like the Social Security system, I feel, in the United States. It needs to be addressed, okay? There's no right, there's no wrong, we can't do it. It needs to be addressed. But first, we got to understand, when I was looking through this issue, what are we really talking about when we talk about this rent freeze?
Not free rent.
Oh.
I honestly think some people...
Oh, so it's not free rent, but it's discounted rent, right? So it's not free rent. Okay.
Not free rent. I honestly think some people are misunderstanding what a rent freeze means. Some seem to think it means free rent when in reality it just means rent increases are paused for a period of time. I've even heard claims that a rent freeze means no rent has to be paid for 2 years, which isn't how it works at all. So, what happens after the freeze ends? Landlords may adjust prices again. There could be larger rent increases later to make up for the pause. Landlords may also price in the risk of future rent freezes. So yes, rent may be frozen temporarily, but the real question is what the long-term impact on rent prices could be once it ends.
Just to remind.
See, and I looked at that also. So it has nothing to do with not paying rent. So some people are on the net, and you guys are talking about there's no rent in New York. Listen, this has nothing to do with you not paying rent. And she's 100% right. But it does have to do with you having a discount on rent. So in New York, I'm seeing you guys get raised rent. Everybody gets the rents raised every year. That's the truth. I've been a landlord before, and I've had to raise the rent. And you raise it based on how much your taxes go up, your cost of actually operating. Some people are unjust in it. I'm not gonna lie, they're not fair. They may raise your rent a freaking $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, and their mortgage, not even their mortgage, but their taxes didn't even go up that much, right? But with these increased taxes that we're seeing, because we just came out of a period where we just had nothing but appreciation in real estate market, right? We're going to see increased property taxes. So that's what a lot of these landlords are dealing with, increased property taxes. I'm sympathetic for the landlord and I'm sympathetic for the tenant because I believe both of them, there are reasons why they're going through those situations. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the landlord is bad or he's a slumlord. It doesn't mean that the tenant is bad and the tenant is not responsible for their stuff. A lot of times, it's the economy. It's the value that we gave to the property that they're living in or the asset that the landlord owns, right?
Landlords aren't immune from having to get jobs in the case of unexpected bills. So if a rent freeze is affecting a landlord of some kind, well, they can do what the rest of us do, which is do side hustles, get a regular job, get another regular job. Same as all the rest of us. There's no entitlement necessary for people that own property to be immune from ever having to work a regular job. So any landlord out there that's upset about a rent freeze and the associated money not coming in, go get a regular job like the rest of us do.
Half the country is illiterate. Half the country is illiterate. Half the country.
Go get a regular job. You tell that to a real estate investor, like, a regular job? What you mean? I got in this thing to play the real estate game, right?
Is illiterate. Half the country is illiterate. Half the country is illiterate. Half the country is illiterate, and I find myself struggling when I tend to forget for 1 second in my day that half the goddamn country is illiterate. The fact that y'all hear rent stabilization and rent freeze and y'all think that people are not paying rent has to be the most comical thing in the world. The fact that they somehow convinced the everyday worker, the working man, the person who's pulling himself up out of bootstraps when he doesn't even have boots on, that he has to side with the billionaires is absolutely.
I don't get homeboy's point. It's not having boots on. I don't get it.
Absolutely comical. And these people are illiterate, not even in the simple way of not being able to read, but in the way of not understanding the political climate, not understanding economics, not understanding the policies that govern their everyday life. Every time I hear these people speak, I then realize why we have a baboon in the White House. They're charging you $3,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, and you're saying if they freeze their rent, it will mess up the economy. Are you guys good? And people are always saying, no, these are just bots. These are just bots. There's no way people really think about this. They convinced poor people in the South to fight a war, to own slaves, when they were too poor to be able to ever own slaves in their life. Trust me, these people are real. Do you understand that the people that they are freezing this rent still have to pay rent? Do you understand that the people that are owning these apartments and buildings, they are making billions, $100 million? Just put this math together. $100 million could leave their account right now, and they would not go into financial hardship.
What?
Crazy.
Listen, I don't know where he got this from. Not everybody who owns real estate in New York is a billionaire. Matter of fact, there's a lot of people that inherit real estate from the previous generation. Because you got people in New York that lived in New York for generations. And those brownstones, their parents owned those brownstones and they inherited those brownstones. If they choose not to live in a city, then most of the time they're moving out of the city and they're renting the place. Those are not the ones that are, I would say, billionaires at all. Nowhere near it. They're probably a millionaire, I would say, because the Browns, depending on how they inherited that brownstone and if they have a mortgage on it, probably on paper, but very rarely is it like they're billionaires. Now, we got to also look at it. There's not rent freeze for everybody. There's only for some people who already have a special type of rent that they're paying. They're already paying low rent already. What they're saying is that this freeze is now for any increase that you have on a rent, like we spoke about earlier. Yeah, that does have an issue. You've got property taxes. You've got cost of supplies that are going up. You've got rent. You've got insurance that's going up. Insurance companies have left places like Texas, California, Florida. They left Georgia too. I lost mine. I had to find some new ones. And when you find a new one, they're not going to be as cheap as your previous one. They're probably going to be more expensive, more than likely more expensive. So you can only do business in New York under certain conditions. So you don't have all the insurance companies that you would normally have through that some of the other states get the benefit from, because New York is very specific. If that is the case, yes, it can actually it can mess up the whole economic flow of things. It can. I'm not saying that the rent prices aren't high. I'm not even saying that they're not artificially high. What I am saying is that I don't know how much the owners are taking home and how many of them are actually billionaires to do something like that. That's weird to me. That's weird when you think anybody who has an asset or has anything that they're financially well off, better than you. It takes more financial wisdom and understanding to actually handle certain assets. And people think that, oh, just because I bought a house or I bought a rental property, I'm good. I know how to rent property. I've seen my dad do it before. No, you're not. Your dad had a skill set. You observed the skill set. You still have to live in that skill set. You still have to be able to do the same thing. A lot of people can't do it. So you get people that inherit these places and all they want to freaking do is rent out the place. But damn, you get this shit that happens and they can't do it. And I'm not ignoring the fact that these people have high prices, but I'm not going to ignore the fact also that these high prices are in the actual city. And there's not too many metropolitans you can live in this country of America where you don't pay more to live in the city than to live out the city. Very rarely. Some of them you pay less, depending on the condition of the city. And if you're paying less to live in the city than the suburbs, I probably don't want to live in that damn city. Probably don't. That's just my opinion to it. You take it however it is. Let's keep going.
To all the people who are out here celebrating Mamdani's rent freeze, look, I get it. You guys, it sounds great, it's exciting, but let me try one more time to explain this to you and let you understand the math. First of all, it's not a rent freeze for all New Yorkers, all renters. It's a rent freeze on rent-stabilized units. Rent-stabilized apartments are apartments that typically are below market rate. These are people who are typically paying less rent than everyone else on the market, because a lot of these people have been in their units for decades. We've heard about this all the time, where you have landlords, they'll buy properties, but they're not allowed to evict certain people because they have been there for so long, and they just got to basically wait till they die to get them out, or pay them exorbitant amounts of money just to get them out so they can even do repairs and upgrades to the properties. So anyway, the people who are benefiting from this rent freeze are not all New Yorkers. It's only a segment of New Yorkers. And those are the people who are already paying cheaper rent than the rest of you. Now, how is this going to impact everyone else out there who is a renter in New York City, the majority who are out here celebrating this? Well, I'll tell you this. Let's break down some of the math for you. First, when you're the owner of a property and you're facing rising costs, you're paying higher insurance rates, the property taxes are going up, maintenance costs are going up, utilities, light, gas, water, all of those things, documentedly so, are rising. But you're not allowed to increase rent. You're not even allowed, after a person moves out, to increase the rent after a certain amount and charge more money in order to recoup some of the costs. So what does that do? That's going to lead to two things. One is going to lead to dilapidated housing because the math just won't work. If your liabilities, your costs continue to go up, but your income remains the same, then we have a problem. You're going to start seeing landlords taking shortcuts on repairs. You're going to see them, as a result of that, getting more violations from the city agencies, which, let's be honest, have been weaponized against every property owner, not just the big landlords, but even the small mom pop landlords, and even just everyday property owners who reside in their own properties. So they're going to continue to pile up with all of those violations, and then guess what happens? They can't pay for it, and they are labeled slumlords. And now slumlords, you hear about it all the time from every administration, they get painted as these evil people. And I'm not saying that there aren't some of them, because there are definitely a good amount of them that just don't give a shit about the condition of their properties. But this paints landlords, people who own properties, with this broad brush that now gives the city an excuse to seize private property, as you hear Zoran Mamdani talking about. So the city of New York, they can become your new landlord or enforce or impose their rules through their nonprofits or whatever. But here's the thing. Who is the biggest slumlord in New York City? NYCHA. That is New York City, your government. They are the biggest slumlord in New York City. But here's the second problem. This is going to lead to disincentivizing a lot of the owners of these properties from putting these apartments on the market because they are guaranteed losses. So that's what leads to what I've discussed before, warehousing, where you will have thousands, tens of thousands of apartments, as we know is happening right now, that are being withheld from the market. Why? Because it costs more to rent them than to just hold them back. So what happens when you have less supply on the market? When you have less apartments available, what does that do to the overall demand? It rises, supply and demand. And so if the demand rises for apartments and there are less apartments available, what do you think is going to happen to the cost of those apartments that remain in the market that are not rent stabilized? Come on. Yeah, you can say it. The cost goes up. Now, we've seen this happen already in the past. We saw it happen under Bill de Blasio, who did the exact same thing, where it led to increased homelessness, it led to dilapidated housing, and it led to an economic disaster. And Zoran Mamdani is promising to double down on that. Remember, he calls Bill de Blasio his favorite mayor. Folks, you're going to have to face the truth that a lot of the things that you've been celebrating, you're celebrating Pyrrhic victories. You're celebrating things that may sound good on its face, but you're not digging into the details to understand why it is harmful to the collective. So, once again, this rent freeze that so many people are celebrating, the only people who should actually be celebrating are the people who are residing in those apartments who once again got a windfall where they don't have to pay more rent, where they don't have to face an increase in cost. But the cost of that is that it's going to raise everyone else's rent because it is going to affect the supply of housing. And I've been trying to explain this for the longest time, and I just don't know why people won't get it. And I guess it's because of politics, because everybody wants to be a socialist until they figure out economics, and then they no longer want to be socialists.
He's not lying. Leave a comment, man. If you feel different about it, leave a comment. Because I'm open to it, because I'm never the person that's gonna say that we have people that are paying rent and they can afford. I'm not gonna be the one that says that the rent prices are high. Hell, man, mortgages are going up. Right? What the hell? Mortgages are going up. So I definitely know rents are going up, because mortgages aren't going up because the mortgage company wants more money. It's going up because your property went up in value. Think of New York. New York has some of the highest appreciation in the country. All of those properties where those landlords were sitting in, all those properties went up. See, I'm cool, and I can understand where you're getting at when you talk about people who have like hundreds of pieces of land, of property. I lived in a house when I moved back to Georgia. The landlord was in France, and they had their portfolio in Atlanta, and they probably had about 3,000 pieces of property. I don't have any sympathy. I know I should. They be like, hey, you know, he's made money. Yeah, he made money, and he's making more money. And I really, honestly, don't have like a ton of sympathy. You know how to play the game. You know how to make money off of tax depreciation. You know all that stuff. I personally feel like they should be the people that you're looking at because they're offering these low income pieces to people and they're raising it up and they're not taking care of it. But you got a bunch of mom and pops. A lot of them look just like me, just like you, because Harlem, some of those other places, they had family that owned property there. They can't afford to do this. They can't. I mean, some of them are offering these properties to their community at a discounted rate, not collecting as much as they should because they love their community. Not everybody loves their community. Go after the ones that don't love their community and cut a break to the ones that are trying to do great things for the people that want to stay in that community. If you're all about it. See, this is the thing that made me leery about socialism. That's the thing that makes me kind of like, I hear y'all, but I like doing good, but I don't like doing good, man, when it comes to when I'm being required to do good. You see what I'm saying? Like like you've been to a gas station before or the supermarket when you buy something and they ask you to donate. That's an option. Like you can push the button or you can ignore the button. I like to push the button because I enjoy giving. I believe it's an expression of what God has done for me, how he's blessed me. So I'm going to give, okay? That's telling the God that I appreciate what he gave to me. But man, when you make it a requirement and you say, and you politicize it, and now you try to make it into a structured system because you're trying to make everybody happy. I wish there's no way in this world we can make everybody happy. The only place where you make everybody happy is in a utopia, and we're not there, and socialism can't get us to there because when I'm unhappy, if I make and create something or if I bring something to pass, I want to see the benefits of it in my bank account. I want to see the fruits of it to my children. I want to see the seeds that come from it. Let me scatter that to the people that I want to bless and want to help. Y'all, politics can't solve the problem that we deal with as a culture. It really can't. No matter what they want to say, it can't. It can only go but so far. Yeah, we got the right to vote and all these other things. It can go but so far. But the right does it just like the left does it. You're leaning to these people and you think that these people can fix the situation. When if you got it, give it to somebody. Not necessarily the physical thing, but how you got there. Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? That's why we got to put the message out. Those who actually know, we got to tell the truth. And this is less about what New York, this is less about the rent freeze than the misunderstanding what rent freeze truly is. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. Ignorance is only bliss. Well, it ain't never freaking bliss. Shit. Ain't nothing bliss about being ignorant, you know? It's not. So people say, why is this important? When they practice it in New York, they're going to bring it to the city near you.
For us to grow up.
Whoa, Shadow, relax. Calm down, Shadow. Yo, I'm gonna fight. Whoa, why you wanna fight? What the fuck is your problem? What the fuck is your problem? What the fuck is your issue, sir? Whoa, why you wanna fight, sir? What the fuck you wanna fight for? Why did it scare you? I'm right here, jackass. I'm fucking looking at you. Look at you in the corner, jackass. What's your problem? You crazy. Fucking crazy. What the fuck is your problem? Shadow, calm down.
A rent freeze will is disincentivize anyone who actually owns said apartments to fix them. And so you go back to like New York City of the 60s and 70s, where you have these derelict buildings with apartments that are falling apart, hallways that are crap, light bulbs that are out, trash that's not picked up. And that then affects the sidewalk, which then affects the next building, that then affects the next building. And then developers come and say, well, I can't build on this block. These buildings are all disaster. That then affects the next building. And then these buildings go underwater because the rents are frozen, but you're not freezing interest rates. You freeze rent, that's fine, but you're not freezing the rates. You're not freezing markets. You're not freezing time. And so who's going to fix all these apartments with what money? Like with what profit? You're just not going to do it. And that's what happened.
All right, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm a bleeding heart.
Yo,
Well, why you want to fight, sir? Well,
Yo, this is the typical New York up top chick. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, I ran down to the South to get away from y'all.
oh no.
But I love y'all. I just love y'all. Y'all funny. Direct to the point. What up, son? What's going on, son? I'm about to knock you out, son. What? 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 That chick about to hand him a 2-3. She's like, bop, bop, bop. Shit. That remind me, man. Them girls up top know how to fight. I hear y'all in Miami. I hear y'all in Atlanta. I get y'all. But it's something about chicks that be up top when they fight. Like, they hold their hands like dudes. You know, when she get to moving like this, when she get to moving like, and she done held her hand like a dude, you better run. You better run, son. Because she going to hit you with the bop, 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 bop. And then you going to be like, ah. And then we going to be looking at you like your boys. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to react to this on one of my content pieces. I'm like, damn, he got knocked out. Because you just got blah, 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 blah. Up north, women do that. And I'm sure the West Coast girls, y'all probably gangbang and ride hard, but yo, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this last piece. I used to date this girl in the PJs, right? In Philly. And so she used to come to my spot. Moms be at work. She come through the front door. You know, my little brother down there, he chilling. I'm in my teens. I'm so to get a sense of what it looked like and sound like. Remember when Doggy Style dropped by Snoop Dogg? Tell me if you remember that. Leave a comment if you remember that. When Doggy Style dropped by Snoop Dogg, it was crazy. It was ham. You heard it like in all the cars. And we were in Philly and we were playing that West Coast joint. It was just banging. So they give you an idea what the atmosphere looked like. Shorty comes up to the house. She knocking the door. I open the door, screen door. Mom's done left at 6 o'clock for work. And I know that. So I know I got between, me and bro know we had between like 6, 7 o'clock. Cause we get up like 7:30, 7 o'clock. And we got until what? 5 o'clock she get home, right? Pops ain't swinging by the house. None of that stuff. You know, Step Pop. He every now and then he pop up, but nah, I ain't like that. And when he pop up, you better be ready. Pops come in. He like, y'all ready to go? No. Shorty, chill out with your boy. We hanging out watching TV, all this stuff, chilling. Oh, niggas in the way be like, hey, man, Lee, got somebody at the house. But, bro, what? PJ girls are thick like that. They think like that. They for real, for real. They don't play. And you better watch it. You gotta watch it because the reason they think like that, when them girls be like, when they hit you with the boom, 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 oh, it's a wrap. I done seen her fight. Oh, it's a wrap. That was my summer dating a PJ girl. Dude, and she was was crazy. And she could fight her behind off. She went running out the door when my mom came in the house. So mom is driving in, the garage is going up, and the girl from the PJs is running out the front door. My brother's like, damn, what the heck? I'm like, hey. It's a wild boy. I'm sorry, I was a wild boy. It just was the way it is. Let's get back to this. Come on.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm a bleeding heart. But these videos of all these landlords in New York City who are crying, saying how these rent freezes on 1 million apartments in New York City is going to destroy them. Hold on, I'm getting a little emotional. It's starting to get to me. I'm not going to lie. It really is. And as a homeowner, I get it. I get it. I'm not a landlord, but I am a homeowner. So I understand because my taxes go up every year. My insurance rates go up every year. I have to maintain my home. My energy costs have skyrocketed. But for some reason, the politicians who are supporting you and saying this is bad and wrong for you, tell me to figure it out. Because my salary has not skyrocketed. It's pretty much stayed the same. But I have to figure it out. Maybe get a second job. Maybe donate some plasma, or definitely stop going to Starbucks, or cut out the streaming services like Netflix. Maybe that'll make a difference. I just find that strange. Because why aren't they telling you to try those things? Why aren't they telling you to figure it out? It's only a year, or in some cases 2 years. Why can't you figure it out? I mean, I'm sure when you raise the rents on your tenants, you expect them to figure it out. And I know what you're going to say. You know, this is a business. I don't think housing should be for profit. That's just me personally. But if you want to call it a business, if you haven't planned for rainy days, if you haven't saved up money in case of emergencies like this, where something like a rent freeze for a year or two is going to destroy you, maybe you shouldn't be in business. Maybe you're just bad at business. But I do feel sorry for you. I do. And I don't know what to tell you. Maybe just sell your building, I guess. I mean, I know if I can't afford something anymore, just gonna sell it. You can always start a GoFundMe. I forgot about that. You can always start a GoFundMe, right? I mean, I'm sure there are millions of people out there just ready to donate to the landlords of New York City. And if you threaten to let the homes just dilapidate or the apartments fall into disarray, then you're gonna lose your building altogether. Because maybe you don't deserve a building. Figure it out. Bye.
We're not about to act like this shit.
Hey. That's she had a good point. And when she was saying, I thought about it, man. We all have to either figure it out or we have to work through the situation. It's as bad for one side as the other. And I kind of believe when I look at this is just another way to divide the people. This is another way to make enemies of people who accomplish things and villains of people, well, victims of people who haven't. Now, we can have another discussion about money and rich being rich and how it happens, all that stuff. But I just want you to get this. You don't want anyone to not incentivize dreaming big, goal setting, accomplishing what those goals are, and the financial steps and increase that comes from that. Whether you're building a business, whether you invented something, or whether you're completing college and getting a degree that you work so hard for, and you're going to go into a position and make the money that you want to make. It doesn't matter. When we start saying those things now, because you hit those accomplishments and those levels, you're fully responsible for taking care of people that are around you, and you should pay more into the system. We got to talk about that. We really do. I'm not going to attack them because they have a certain way of thinking when it comes to that. I'm not even going to attack the left because they have a certain way when we talk to it. I'm going to tell you this. You can't fix the problems that we have through creating new laws. You can't. There's a place where we are responsible as human beings for our families, for our neighborhoods, for our communities. We're responsible to share what we know with other people. We're responsible to help the next generation as people. Tribes have done it for years. Groups have done it for years. This is not a brand thing. When you go into the military, I was in the military, I don't learn some brand new thing. The person who was doing that job before me teaches me and shows me how they did that job. They even pass on to me certain things that they did to do that job better. Sometimes you get that opportunity, not all, but a lot of times I got that opportunity. I don't know about soldiers now, but that's the way it was designed for people that's coming in, to people that are coming into the military, to take off from the people who are either leaving and retiring or leaving that particular position. Pass the knowledge on. That's all I'm saying, is pass it on. Teach somebody. Teach the new people.
Normal. Yesterday, New York City, 103 degrees outside. It literally felt like people were in a furnace. And then out of nowhere, it's like we had a lightning storm. Lightning striking, knocking down trees. But the crazy part is what happened in Coney Island. When you ever seen Coney Island look like this? You got videos circulating where people were on Coney Island Beach and they got hit with something that looked like a tornado. Winds that was out of control. People falling. Their belongings getting blown all over the beach. People on that beach fearing that they was going to lose their life. And no weather advisor said anything about the weather being like that yesterday. Look at this shit. This is the beginning of it. Look at all that sand right there. Now they're saying that this was a sandstorm. What does this look like to you? This is the view from up top. Listen to how that wind is blowing. But that's not it. Look at this. You got people saying that they almost lost their life on Coney Island Beach yesterday. Tell me this is normal. Look at this shit. Mind you, they're saying that yesterday was just the beginning. That we have to brace ourselves for much more weather like this. They're doing something. I'm out.
Hey guys, let me show you firsthand why.
The heat is crazy. We're in a heat wave right now. We feeling it everywhere from up top all the way down to Miami. It's crazy.
New York City rent stabilization laws are absolutely destroying the city. Take a look at this. This is a one-bedroom railroad in the city. Okay, it needs a lot of work. The tenant moved out. She lived here for many years. Okay, it needs a new kitchen, new bathrooms, new floors. You need to take care of the walls. The legal registered rent for this apartment is $1,400. Okay, and change. The landlord calls me. He's like, look, what should I do with this apartment? You know, I need to put in $30,000, $40,000 to bring up this apartment up to date. And why would I do that if I could only charge $1,400 in monthly rent and then I need to pay heat and hot water, utilities? I'm going to lose money by just renovating this apartment. Why would I do that? So he came to the conclusion, you know what? Better off, I'll just keep this apartment vacant. So guess what? One less apartment to New York City's inventory. This is why freeze the rents might not be the best idea.
So the landlord's complaining about the rent freeze. Let me give you a story about how New York is living there for 50 years. I lived in Park Slope, and I lived in a regular apartment, market rate, but my neighbor lived in a rent-stabilized apartment. And I think she was paying like $1,750 to $1,800 a month, right? It was a railroad apartment, and there was a hole in her ceiling, and in her bathroom ceiling, and they kept repairing it, and it would fall out again because there was a leak from upstairs. It would take months for them to come and fix that hole. Then they had to fix the floor. That also would take months. Why? Because they wanted to frustrate her so much that she would move out. She didn't. She would call 311 and they would come knocking at my door thinking it was me, but it was really her complaining. I know that we would complain about heat all the time. And remember, my rent was $22. Then it became $28. And then at $3,200 for a walk-up, I was like, I'm not doing this. We're leaving. My apartment was rented in 3 days. Then I bumped into one of my neighbors that lived downstairs from me, and we asked them if they were still there. They were like, no. They were paying market rate, and they said that there was a leak in their apartment that they could just never fix. So these landlords, as much as they bitch and complain, they really don't like to make repairs because they really don't want to spend money, and they want those rent stabilized apartments. They want those people out so they can charge market rate and still not do repairs. So don't listen to their cries because it's a bunch of bullshit.
I gotta ask you, if you know this video, some of y'all watching it, leave a comment. Rent stabilized apartments. She's saying that they want the tenant out so they can make it market rent. Why not make it market rent? Why did it start off at rent stabilized? I don't understand the rent stabilized process in New York. I've seen it in Cali, but I don't quite get it, like, from that sense. To me, when I look at this situation, I'm like, there is a price to actually live in the city of New York. We've known that for years. When I lived in Philly, when I had cousins that lived there in actually New York, like, I think not South Bronx, but in like Manhattan, Brooklyn. I had a cousin that lived in Brooklyn also. I'm trying to figure, like, when the cost to live there, we knew it was always high because we knew you had some of the best access. You had LaGuardia, like you had the air. You've got the most heavily trafficked airport in the world, beating out Atlanta hands down. You've got the NASDAQ, Wall Street. You've got all these financial hubs that are there. we always knew that they had businesses that were in New York. And because they had business in New York, people had to work there. And you either were driving from out the city to go in, or you lived in the city and you worked in. Most people have lived out of the city and then they moved in who worked there. But you did have people that lived there. But we knew when you lived there, you had to pay the cost. Your parents had to have bread. You had to have a family member that had bread. You have to come from bread. You had to have some business that you already were doing or some hustle that you had that made you enough bread. Hint, hint, hint. You had to get the money from other places. That's why it's kind of weird to me right now what's taking place. But I get it. I guess I would have felt better if they would have turned around and made this guy slow down taxes, property taxes during that time. If he came with a full plan, I don't think he would have gotten this much of a people coming at him, Mamdani, because he saw both sides of it. I don't think he sees both sides of it. I don't think they actually even care. But one thing is for sure, okay? They will try that shit in Atlanta. They'll try it in Miami. They'll try it in Texas. They'll try it anywhere that they have that they can get it pulled or passed in the municipality, that local municipality, that cities, the aldermen. They'll try it in Baltimore. Does Baltimore have a rent? Do they have like a rent deal going on too? I don't know. Everybody has Section 8. But the Section 8 thing I felt was great because Section 8 just allows you to put your stuff on the market and rent it to people, and then it held you accountable. So you had a certain level of quality that you had to bring, or you lost your Section 8 money. I don't know what happens with that. Do they end up losing money or incentives that they get or caps that I don't know. You tell me. Is there some incentive for a rent reduced apartment in New York? Do they give incentives? Huh.
Yo, welcome to my apartment.
Yo, this space is so small. How much do you pay for it?
$650.
What's the square footage?
80 by 150.
So really it just feels like a walk-in closet.
It's in Midtown, so it's nice because it's not in a random spot.
Like in Brooklyn or something?
Like in Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Shorty playing $650 a month for a real hole in the wall? Y'all love New York. I can't do it, bro.
Holy shit.
This is the kitchen, no oven.
Are these clean or dirty dishes?
Yeah, they're so dirty.
They're so dirty. This is like the only shelving space you have kind of over here.
Only shelving, yeah. It's kind of annoying.
This
is
very like college-esque,
It's
right?
so college. Feels like a dorm, yeah. We have a makeup bin and we have food.
Or do you cook in here ever? That's the real question.
Sometimes, yeah. If I do though, like I'll go get it fresh. This is storage. I just keep like a lot of cleaner stuff up there. So I had food up here originally. There were like mice in the beginning of summer. So I was like, hell no.
The whole mice bugs thing, like any apartment in New York, you can't escape it. You almost couldn't even do an at-home workout in here. That's how small it is.
Yeah.
So you used to live in a luxury high-rise, and then you moved into this tiny spot.
Yes.
And
You can get a push-up done in there. You can get some push-ups, some good kettlebells done in that mud. I mean, this is your choice. If you want to live in New York, this is what you're gonna get, bro.
what prompted that?
I was debating if I was gonna move back to LA when this lease was over, so it was a 6-month short time lease. I just found it and I thought it would be nice and convenient. I can travel and not have to worry about a lot of rent.
You basically saved $2,600 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Even a rent-stabilized apartment, they moved out. Not only the rich are moving, the working class is moving. I just lost 4 tenants to 4 different states. Okay? They moved out and we found out why would you be moving? You're paying fucking $1,800 a month rent. Another one's paying $2,800 rent. Okay? For 2-bedroom, right? Another one was paying $3,000 a month because all these buildings, the taxes are high. So they were paying $3,000 a month in a market apartment, right? Which is still was cheap because that apartment should be going for $3,500. They moved. They left New York City to another state. So why are you only thinking that the rich are moving? The working person is moving. They're not billionaires. They're not millionaires. They're regular people working. And they just said, I'm out of here. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of getting on the trains. I'm tired of doing all of these things and tired of having no money in my pocket.
All the people crying on behalf of...
Oh boy, might not have the... hey. That's the thing. We like to judge him and say, oh, he's got money. He's lying. Oh boy, might not have any bread. You can actually be rich in real estate and not have a penny. I'm talking about like no money. Like you every month you got to find money for specific things, food and all. But you got all this real estate. I've seen it before. Damn.
The millionaires and wealthy who are going to be affected by the 2-year tax freeze in New York City for about 1 million renters. I don't get why there's so much dismay. They're like, well, our bills are going up, and what are we supposed to do? We're going to lose our buildings. Get a second job. Get another job. Get another source of income.
My boy ain't wrong, though. You tell creators to go get other jobs. You got to do real estate. You got to get a job 9 to 5. You got to do this house. You just can't create real estate. There's a point, create content. There's a point when the content starts to support you and you've made tons of money with it and you can let that job go. A lot of investors don't even like to even get jobs. I think the smartest investors that I've met, they actually had jobs while they were building their business, their investment business. Some of them get to a certain point when they have enough money that meets their living expense. They feel like it's a time for them to check out the job. I mean, to each their own. You know your living conditions. But this is kind of upside down, right? Because we feel like real estate is your exit, your way to get out of the rat race. He's telling you to go back into the rat race because you got a piece of real estate. I say you got to consider this. He's talking about if we made it real simple, right? Depreciation, you are getting less money, but you're still getting appreciation on a property. So you're still making money. You might appreciate 2 or 3%, but you're still making money. You're still building wealth, but you're not getting the cash flow, which people like to throw up in the air and go. But you can't be watching these people pockets, bro. You really don't know what they got going on. You know, you really don't know what people got going on.
Isn't that exactly what you tell people who make minimum wage or just above minimum wage when they tell you that they're struggling to buy groceries and afford a home and basic necessities? You say, get a better job. Adults shouldn't be flipping burgers. Adults shouldn't work in retail stores. Those jobs are all for kids, apparently. Get a better job. Do better. Do better. If your income's not going to go up next year,
homeboy, listen, bro.
Do better.
If you're going to get in the screen, at least make sure you cut your nose hairs. Cut your nose hair at least. You see? Every time I get on here, I make sure I cut these nose hair, man. Cut your nose hair, bro.
But you won't. Because you know it's bullshit. We're not going to become a third world country because rent is frozen for 2 years. You're not going to be crippled by your taxes and the cost of maintenance. And if you choose to neglect your building, it just shows and proves that you're a piece of shit who don't actually care about the service that you're supposed to be providing to your tenants. But anyway, if you're really going to be struggling that bad because you can't raise your rent year over year, get a second source of income. Get a third source of income. Do better. Work harder. Stop depending on working people to supply you with income. You're not going to do that though, are you? You're just going to bitch, moan, and complain and use your power and influence to lobby to get things changed. It's too bad the working class, the poor, the underserved don't have that same leverage.
Real estate is and that's the deception. I'm sorry, homie. We all got the same leverage. Whether you're talking about starting a YouTube channel, whether you're talking about getting out here and doing trash, it doesn't matter what you do. You have intellectual properties in you, ideas that can be used to create wealth. Yeah. This is one of those debates when I look at what renters say and what landlords say going back and forth. I've been in that type of situation. I've been the renter and I've been the landlord. I've had both sides. And so I can only uniquely speak to this situation because I've been on both sides of it and I've seen it. Whether you can't charge but so much for it. And so you got to take what you get. Then you still have to turn around and take care of the property, right? You still got to do that. You still got to deal with tenants that don't do what they're supposed to and they may ruin the property. But we got to realize that not all tenants are like that. Just like not all landlords are some big billion-dollar company sitting down, smoking cigars and talking to you about what you should be doing in your house and how much you need to give them more money. It doesn't always work like that, but it is there. That I'm not going to ignore that. That's not a real thing. Because like I said, I lived in a house when I moved back to Atlanta. The people who owned it lived in France and they had 3,000 other pieces of property in the Atlanta area that they had rented out, and they went up on rent. They would go up on rent consistently. I stayed there. I think I was there a year, 2 years, but they definitely went up on rent during that time. They did. And it was left to us to figure out how we were going to take care of that increase. And I think the ignorance in this country is not knowing that the same municipality that raises the rent on people, raises the property taxes on people who own houses and live right next to you, and you're renting it, you're experiencing the same thing that they're experiencing it, because it's not coming from greed. It's coming from the actual system, the increased cost to actually live. That is how we should be addressing this. We got to talk about it, because either you're going to find the money to live more, or live better and live the lifestyle you want, or you're going to cut out some shit. Some people like to cut out shit. I like to find shit. It just depends on what you want to do. To each their own, okay? To each their own. But it is a real issue. I'm not going to act like it's not, because some people will want you to think that it's not, and that's a lie. It's a real issue.
You must understand that. This is not for free. This bullshit of free doesn't go this way. That's how you destroy something.
So a lot of people want rent-stabilized apartments because they feel they can't live in New York City without it, because it costs so much to rent. So do you see that there is a problem?
Here's the problem. Let me stop you. I want a Bugatti, but I can afford a Mercedes. You understand me now? Don't go for the Bugatti. I can't afford $6,000 a month rent. Let those people who can afford it, let them buy them. It's America. You afford it, you pay for it. You can't afford it, find another apartment. You don't have to live in Manhattan.
How do you fix this immense wealth disparity in this city when a quarter of New Yorkers live in poverty?
Who cares?
You don't care for your fellow Americans?
No, it's what you have no program for them. Or did you not understand that
Or
you
get
must
them
solve
fed
their
and
problem?
get them going somewhere.
You get them going by knowing their losses and how you can put them back on their feet, not by giving everything for free.
Live in New York.
Yeah, I agree. I've never had the philosophy. I believe if you get something for free, it's never free. It's going to cost you, and y'all keep thinking this thing it doesn't cost. We're literally paying the cost right now for COVID, with all that incentive money that went out. You know, when we got the check, we're like, oh damn, this like. We're living in that right now. Somebody's paying for it. You and me. We all paying for it.
One of the busiest cities in the world, and all these bars, all these restaurants are empty. All of them. All of them. All of them. It's a Thursday night, and when I moved to New York 5 years ago, the streets were insanely packed and insanely busy. I'm in Hell's Kitchen, okay? Let me show you the streets right now. These are the streets. Empty, dead, no one's out. It's only like 8:47 right now, and I remember when I first moved to New York City, you could not walk down different streets near Times Square. They would be so packed, so overcrowded.
This means that the rent hike is frozen. It's closed for at least 2 years. This means that my son, who lives in a rent-stabilized apartment, he can buy food. Yeah. He can entertain himself. He can buy clothes. That's what this means.
He probably should be living home with her. If you can't buy food and you can't buy clothes, you got to live home. He should be living home with you. There's got to be a place where we stop criticizing cultures that practice group economics and do it, okay? And practice group economics. My kids are not leaving my house until we actually have a new house for them to move into, a house for them to move into, something that they own. You put everybody there. You make them pay your mortgage. You make them pay your electric and your water bill. Oh no! You make them pay for food, but it's a fraction of what they would actually pay if they were living independently by themselves. You give them their own space, respect them, and practice those group economics. Because I believe in this season, this is the thing that we have to practice. This is one of the biggest things you have to practice, especially if you're finding you're coming up short in your monthly rent, your mortgage, things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we fell really prey to this lie that, hey, you grow kids up, you got to kick them out. Or if you don't have this, you're no good, or you're not good enough, you're not working hard enough. It is all these lies that we have that floats around that is there. And if we would just stop trying to compare and compete with the Joneses, we would make better decisions when it came to stuff like this. Like, we would not be concerned with what people think about how many people stay in your home, as long as it is within the zoning regulation. And your kids would stay, or your relatives would stay, or your mom would stay, or things like that would be easier. A lot of cultures do that already. Even though they assimilate to the United States, they still understand group economics because they learned that where they came from, you know? And that's important. That's big.
So my grandson, he doesn't have to worry that his mom and his dad can't pay the rent. I'm very happy this happened. I fought for this. I knocked on doors. I got signatures. I'm happy that this happened. A lot of people couldn't pay their rent. A lot of my families are struggling. This is great news. This is what this does for me. I'm very relieved. I'm very happy. Full of fucking slumlords, y'all. This room belongs to my youngest two daughters. And at this point, it's so cold in here that I could see the smoke coming out of my mouth while I'm talking. And the landlord is still getting rent. Well, I guess it's time to crank up the space heaters and plug in the hot water, because, listen, at the end of the day, as a mom, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's fucking cold. At the end of the day, the purpose of this video is to bring awareness as to what goes on living in New York City. They give us these subsidies that are supposed to help us, quote unquote, pay the rent. And the landlords take the money a lot of the times. And they don't provide the things that they're supposed to provide, like heat, hot water, a refrigerator, even a stove. And nothing ever really happens. Even after reporting to 311, even after reporting to HPD, nothing happens. So I need the community, because I know I'm not alone, to band together, tag the mayor, tag the news company, tag whoever. Because there's no reason why when I wake up in the morning after you get your $3,000 in rent, I don't have heat.
This is just your friendly reminder that
That is ridiculous. And I've always thought that was the most cruelest, evilest thing that a landlord can do, especially when you're up north. Just coming from up top, that is very cruel. Because you know that when it's cold up there, it is cold. Even though it's cold in the south, it ain't nothing like that hawk that'll blow through that joint. And the worst thing would be to come home to an apartment that you don't even have heat in. You're literally stepping from outside into a frigid place on the inside. I'm being real about that. Even as a landlord, I don't even... a property owner, I never, ever, ever thought that was something that was cool. It just can't go to bed at night, man. Think about it. They cold as outside, as those icicles on the freaking tree outside. Where's the sympathy? Where's the love? And granted, I love making money. I enjoy making money. I love the creative things of making money, but making money should not exceed the joy. The joy of making money should not exceed the joy of using that money to change the life of other people, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna honestly tell you, for somebody that just made bread and would look at it and be like, okay. I wonder, I didn't grow to a level of maturity till I understood that thing that I had inside of me that was like, was like that disgust, that it wasn't a disgust of making money. It was the emptiness of who do I give this to? Like, who do I help with? Like, yeah, my life isn't perfect. Yeah, I got stuff I got to do, but somebody has some worse shit going on than me. And if that's your tenant, you need to put that thing right into the heat. Put it into heat. It ain't no reason why people should live without having that. Now, there was a lady that said something about housing isn't a business. It shouldn't be a cost for housing. I disagree. Because if we leave housing to be the responsibility of the government or the municipality, you think that this is bad when you deal with a landlord. It's completely different when you deal with a municipality. And I kind of believe that now we're going to hold them responsible for the things that we should be doing as human beings. Like, we should be we talk about generational wealth, right? We should be finding these pieces of property, building these structures, whether it's commercial, residential, to be a blessing to somebody that's going to need it to live there and put their head there. That's the whole goal of it. Real estate was never designed to get into that shit and just to make a bunch of freaking money and not do anything for anybody. I don't believe that. Even though people have done it, I don't believe that, because I walked the road, and as I made money, I'm like, where do I park? Do I put this in a 401k? Do I put this in a fund? No. Who can I bless with this? Yeah, I'm gonna invest in my family. Yeah, I'm gonna invest in myself. Yeah, we're gonna save money. Yeah, we're gonna put it forward. But who can I bless with this? How can I make their life better? Whether they're a renter of mine or whether they're, God knows, somebody that just needs a place to live or just needs something. You know, when we start looking at it like that, then we don't demonize the people that make the money, because we understand that the money is going to be used not just, yeah, they don't live good, but they have a heart to give. And we don't demonize the people that need, because we understand that everybody comes into this world and not everybody comes in equal. So they may need a little bit of something great. Let's give them the tools. Let's give them the incentive. Let's give them the heart. Let's give them the drive to go and to do that. Yeah, you can pull yourself up by the bootstrings if you understand that. I'm going to tell you the secret. You're not even pulling yourself up. God is pulling you up. You're just doing what he tells you to do. No, I'm giving y'all too much.
Boyfriend is a real estate agent in New York City. He sells all kind of properties, okay? Cheap-ish ones to very expensive ones. And every single one of his clients, every single one, even the people in their 40s, are getting help from their parents to buy their apartments. And they're not just getting a little help. They're getting a lot of help. Okay? You're not behind. Your parents just don't have $150K to give you for your first apartment.
That's it. You're not behind. You just didn't have, the foundation wasn't laid right. So now we're depending on the government to do the different things that we should be doing for each other. Hey, man, this is my opinion. This is it. This is a Real Estate Lunchbox. Culture meets real estate. I want you to like, subscribe, follow for more content. I'm going to hop off right now. I appreciate you guys taking the time to check me out. Peace.